Welcome to another Discovery Bay Comics production. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. How you doing, everybody? I'm JB, and we're going to get right into it. What this show is I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes showing you how I'm going to use OBS and StreamYard together to produce my daily morning show. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to hit the chat real quick and ask you, how do I sound? Because this is kind of a test. Is the audio good? Is the background too loud? If I can get anybody in the chat to go ahead and hit me up with an answer on that, I appreciate it. Now, let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen and show you the shared screen version. And what this is this is the OBS setup. And don't be like, wow, there's no way you can do this. I'm looking at my main scene called camera scene. And over here up the upper left, we have scenes and we have sources. You can see right now I'm on what we call the camera scene, which is what you're looking at here. And below camera scene, we've got all the sources that I have listed in this current scene. Now, I can go over all the sources in this scene, but really what's important is the scene that I'm going to be using. And one of the first things that I need to do is, did you notice how the show started with my thumbnail? Well, that is the scene labeled main. And then it jumped to intro, which was a little 9-second clip. After the 9-second clip, it put me into this camera scene. That's not what I want on Monday. So I need to actually go into tools and go to the advanced scene switcher. And I have a scene switch for intro. And it says that when the intro is active, when the scene intro is active, switch to scene camera. And that's not where I want it to go anymore. I'm going to want that to go to lineup scene intro. That's where I want it to jump to. And I want it to jump after 9 seconds. So let me save that, go back over to the general tab, stop, start here, close. So let's check and see if that little change works. Welcome to another Discovery Bay Comics production. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And now we jump to line up scene intro, and you're like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Yes, there's a lot of sources in this scene, as you can see, and I'm going to break down those sources for you right now. The first source that you see is called browser, and for me, there's several browser sources. Now, what's a browser source? A browser source is you telling OBS to go get a website's information by giving it the actual string of where that's located. So there's a few utilities out there that do some features. One of them is capturing events. Their event capture, their Streamlabs is what I'm currently using because it's owned by OBS also, but you don't have to. As long as you have the URL, you can use these. Now, I've set up what we call alerts. And if there's a new member or a new subscriber or any of those types of things happen, Streamlabs is monitoring and is going to display an alert based on some other information. That's a whole nother show into it. But in OBS, you have the ability to add a source called browser. And on the first item of everything for me, I need to always make sure that browser is the top source, because very similar to timelines and editing, sources stack upon themselves. Okay. Meaning that if the browser, whatever I have displayed in the browser is below something that's covering it, you would never see it. As a matter of fact, if I have browser source behind the camera, me, and an event were to happen, you wouldn't actually see it because I'm in front of it. The camera source would have been higher in the ranking. So my browser source is 1. The next source I have is a really cool little GIF. Now I'm going to show you. These are available to download, and all I did was add a source called GIF with this little subscribe feature. Now, you're thinking, yeah, there's got to be more to it than that. Well, there kind of is, because you have to actually add in that feature, you have to add a filter. And in my filter, oh, that one's I've already done it, so it's not even in there. I've actually taken it out earlier. You can chroma key out the background to make the item transparent with a filter in OBS. And I know you're like, dude, way too fast. But I'll tell you what, if I do this series often enough, you're going to start picking up on these things. So this is actually a video. So the first source was a browser source, a URL. And as you go here, this is my URL to my StreamYard, to my Streamlab thing there. And you give it the size and dimension. And then my other source is a video. And the video is called Subscribe Small Movie. So it's a little video that I had made. I actually think I downloaded that. And I got to turn that off because it'll just keep looping. Now, as I come down, you're going to see these images, and these are just images. So the first one was a browser source. The second one was a video, which is why you've got the little play button there. And the next set are all just straight images, okay? And I'll give you an example. I don't even know if it's still in here. Coffee. My last coffee mug sponsor was 36 Chambers. That was super simple. All I did was take a snip or a JPEG and add it to the stream as a source. The type of source is image. And there's lots of different images you can do, including like this desk sitting in front of me is just an image. The microphone right here is just an image that I've added to this, is just an image that I've added to this source. And you can see there's a lot of them in here. So I'm going to start plugging them. Notice that in sources, you've got little eyeballs and you've got little locks. And what these are is, do I want the source visible or not? And do I want to lock it from moving? So real quick, I want to hit the chat just because I didn't even hit the chat. Big Will is out here, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for popping in. This is why you use StreamYard, so you can highlight these like this. Chili's Pool List is also in here. I appreciate you stopping by. Superior Hero Reviews. It says, what is this? What's going on, man? Big Will is here. I was just on his channel doing a little guest spot there. The Immortal Biggie Shack is here, as well as Shiny and Quick Draw McGraw. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'm going to talk about what I'm using in Monday's show. So let's take a look around me, right? First, I'm in a camera, which is simple. So I'm a camera element, which is actually down here, Logi. And actually, it's actually Camera Circle. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff to your camera. I just kind of moved it off to the side. I've also got a background behind me. If you start at the very bottom, if I'm going to go to the very bottom sources and work my way up, my lowest source is music, which is just an MP3. I just chose an MP3 and I'm playing it in the background. Now we've got scenes, sources, and underneath is audio mixer. And if you see me, I roll audio mixer down and you've got music here. And that's where I can control the volume of that background music. I can make it louder, or I can turn it down here, or I can mute it entirely. If I wasn't screen sharing, I could get to that button, but I can't. So that's my lowest layer. Then the next layer up for me is the audio. It's actually the Yeti microphone. So you can choose from all the different microphones that you have, but my second layer from the bottom is the microphone because I need to have a mic. Again, if you look in the audio mixer, here's my mic, the blue, and you can see that levels coming off of it. And I can change if I'm hot right here. Now, this is important. If you want to use OBS to go out, to go out to StreamYard or to go out somewhere, this little property is advanced audio properties. I wonder if you're going to see this in here. Yes, you will. Advanced audio properties. You must make sure that the audio and monitoring section right here is active as monitor and audio. Because if it's off, which it is by default, you ain't gonna get nothing. Now, the tracks off to the side are only if you plan on recording. If you're gonna record on OBS, that you can actually record each thing to a different audio track. And that's what this is helping you determine, okay? So now I've come and keep going up. We got background 2, which is lit, right? Background 2, which is just this background image that I have stored on my hard drive. And that's what's in the very background of all of this. And then we've got Camera Circle. Now, Camera Circle is a little bit different because what I did was I took my regular camera. I took this regular camera scene, which has all these other sources built into it already. But I added a filter and I created a new scene. So really, Camera Circle is what you call a nested scene. Okay, camera circle is just camera with a mask around it. And when you go to filters, there's a filter on this, which gives you the circle. And I'm using the scene camera circle in lineup intro for here. So that's camera circle. So if you come down here, you'll see that I have several cameras and one of them is camera circle. Now, if I want to turn camera circle off, I could. Now you can still hear me just because only the camera circle is off. Now, Logi is on. Look, my regular camera is on. But again, remember we were talking about depth of layers? Logi is below background. So I would have to move Logi up one level. See how I moved it up one level? Now I'm on top of the background. But that was a square and I didn't want a square. So instead of using the Logi, I use camera circle because I wanted it to be in a circle. Push me off to the side. As we come up, we've got the desk. I can turn the desk on and off. It's just a GIF. Now that's another thing we should talk about. When you're building, whether you're building an overlay, when you're using images, whether you're using them in OBS or you're using them in StreamYard, the image in the GIF format will give you the transparent background. So this is a desk, which I think I just downloaded off the internet. Let me show you the desk again. The desk is just a GIF image, and then I've placed it accordingly. You don't actually see the whole thing. I've only kind of, moved it around. Now, the little lock tells, when an image is locked, you can't move it. But when you unlock it, now I can move that desk around if I wanted to, even though I had it completely perfect. I didn't want to move that. Why did I do that? And now let's move up. This next item says list. And again, it's this little global. Remember, the first item that we talked about was global. List is this area. Let's unlock it so you can see if it turns red. Does it turn red for you? Oh, I just turned it off. Yeah, it does. It does turn red. So this list area is another one of the functions. There's 1, 2, 3. I think there's 3 on this scene. The counter, which currently says 7 people watching me live on YouTube. That is another go get the URL. This down here in the corner, which is actually capturing any event, the last super chat that happened to the channel, Burke Family 54 Comics, thank you very much, my friend, $1.99. And Swaggle House Comics was the newest subscriber to the channel. It's actually tracking that information, and it's, again, via a URL. So you build that interface thing in Streamlabs, and they give you the URL to put in your OBS. It's kind of simple. I know it's daunting, but it's not. So the next thing up, it's called the intro slideshow, and I'm going to unlock that. And that's this little guy up here. Now, we talk about images. What if I want multiple images? I want more than one image to appear. Well, you use a slideshow with images and or GIFs. So I'll give you an example. I've got these on hotkeys, both intro slideshow and intro rundown. Let me unlock both of those so you can see them turn red, right? You got intro slideshow and intro rundown are both intro slideshows that have the equal number of images in them. And then I have them advancing on a right arrow click. Okay, so I'll show you. Right arrow click goes to the next thing, and both those images changed. He went to Nerd News and he highlighted. And then the next image, he went to a GIF and he highlighted. And then the next image, he went stagnant, he highlighted. The next image, GIF, stayed stagnant. The last image, just a JPEG, and stayed stagnant. So let's take a look at those intro slideshows and how they work. So what it is you add at the bottom of this interface, you can add each of the different, so I've got a PNG, I've got a JPEG, I've got a GIF, I've got a PNG, I've got a GIF, I've got a PNG. That is in the list, and then I don't have it looping. I actually have it responsive as manual using hotkeys to control the slide. So both of these elements are called let me call it, what do they got? If I add it, what is it called? They are called image slideshows. Image slideshows. So let's move up. What else am I showing besides the image slideshows? And now, again, if you turn the eyeball off, any of these are just going to disappear. Right? So we'll move up to the next thing that I'm actually showing, which is my logo. They're up in the corner. Just a GIF, right? If you don't know how to grab your logo and make it a background transparent like that, I've done that in another video. I can show you. It's super simple. You can grab it from YouTube, bring it down, crop it to a circle, and then save it as a PNG. Now, this chapter's text below, That's that little timestamps in description below, which I will add timestamps for this video. And again, that is just a text. Okay. Another type of source you can add is text. You can, very similar to any text that you add in any editor. Do I want it outlined? This one is outlined in black to 4 points. It's white. You can select the color. I want to change it to red. Okay, we'll make the text red. You know, all that functionality you would have in any text. That's a text feature. The next thing I'm displaying is logo pop small. What is that? Oh, this guy right here, Nerd News. That little Nerd News logo. Again, just know where you're putting your images. And this is a PNG that I created in Canva with a transparent background. That's important. If you're using Canva, yes, it's free, but if you want to get that transparency, you got to pay the $1.99 or $2.99, whatever it is, to click that button to get a transparent background when you're on your work. So when I designed this Nerd News Comics Pop Funko logo thing, you got to have a transparent background. So since I designed it in Canva, download it in there and now bring it into here, and it's just and if you want to move it, you unlock it and you move it. You move wherever you want. You want to put it on my face, bam, there it is. All right, what else am I showing? Coming up, we've got the counter. We mentioned the counter. That is this number 5 right here. There's 5 people watching. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you. And then next up is a logo pop. I don't even know where that's at. It's actually hidden, so that doesn't sound good. Image mic. There's the mic. And that's it. So this is this layout. Those are all the sources in this layout, but this show has more than this layout. What ends up happening next is, as I transition from this scene right here to the share scene, the one where I'm actually sharing my screen, there's something that happens. As I go to share screen, if I set this up right, you should get a Nerd News kind of image. So let's see if it fires. And this is over here. I'm changing scenes on the left. Didn't fire. Okay, and the reason it didn't fire is over here in sources on the left, browser 1, which is, I always got browser open, browser, but Nerd News Sting is off. So this needed to be on. So I'm going to turn that on, but then I'm going to back out. I backed out because I want you to see the true transition. All right, so next up in today's show, let's get to today's nerd news. Now, I manually click this. Think about this, guys. When you're doing the show live, you got the mouse in your hand, you're looking at the chat, and you're in your OBS, and now I'm gonna move over into the share screen, and by having that, because it's actually a video, by having that video that's full screen open and at the highest layer immediately, it's a cool transition. Let me show you how it works. So that's Nerd News Sting, which is just a little MP4 that I created in Filmora. But you got to turn it off now, or it'll keep looping. And during the show now on Monday, I got to remember, if that eyeball's got to be on in prior setup, prior to me going live. And then once I go live, once I come into this the first time, I use this same setup, this same scene 3 times. So I've got to turn it off. Oh, I got to make sure I turn it off after I come in, so that when I come in again, because it's going to come back in for IG tag of the day, it doesn't fire again. But this is a new ad to the show I'm doing. One, you see what we're in now, which is today's nerd news. And I've got this countdown timer, and I'm sitting at the desk. So those are some of the changes to the show. So the countdown timer, let's actually talk about the different sources in here. This countdown timer was stupid easy. What it is, and let me get down to it. It is called Countdown right here. It's a text, but it's a text based on this script up here. So if you go to Tools into Script, you can add a script called Countdown. And I think it's free, or it's just there. You add it, Countdown. And then here's the duration, 5 minutes. And what's it going to say? Your final text, what's it going to say? And mine's going to say go. So, and again, this is one of those items that once you've hide it, it's gone. But once you bring it back, it'll reset itself. So the first time I come in on Monday to Nerd News, the countdown timer is going to fire. And it's going to start my countdown because I'm going to keep nerd news to 5 minutes. Now, let's talk about the elements in this scene. Oh my God, there's a lot going on. Start at the bottom again. Background. Got to start with a background, right? So I started with a background. Next thing is my music, which is playing and softly, hopefully in the background. Is I could turn the music off by doing that. Turn it back on. Next thing I have up is window capture full screen, but it's not there. It's interesting. Circle. Me. Just lost me. Next up is my mic. Next up is the list. Again, back down in the corner is that list. Same as the other scene. Just brought it back in. Come back up. What else do we have in this scene? I've got text chapters below, just like in the other scene. Also, this is important. When you create a source that you made in that first scene and you make a change to that source, the source is the source is the source. It's going to follow every scene. We turned our lettering from white to red in the other source when I was talking about timestamps in the description below. That meant that change was going to be global throughout all of our scenes. That source has been changed. Okay, as we come up, next up, I've got my desk. Oh, where'd my desk go? Wait a minute. And then I've got my mic. Put the mic back. And then we've got this thing called text next up. Now, what this is I'm going to lock it so you can see that's this guy, this tag of the day. And what I wanted to do was to have a way to say what was going to be coming up next. This is, and we just saw this in the previous one, this is another image slideshow. But this one only has 3 PNGs in it. Now, I made these in PowerPoint. I mean, totally no big deal. But both the text up next and the text header, again, are image slideshows on hotkeys go right. So my next right, like at the end of the countdown, right? At the end of the countdown, I have to remember I'm going to index right to advance those two things, Instagram tag of the day and what's next. But also at the end of the countdown, I'm actually going to change scenes. So if you look back over here above sources, I'm going to go to my next scene, and my next scene is IG tag of the day intro. I'm thinking about revamping how I do this. Right now, it's set up as its own scene with the count, with that automatic scene switcher waiting 5 seconds before it pushes me back to here. Okay. That's why it was important for me to turn off the nerd news sting, because I don't want that to fire again because I'm coming back for tag of the day. And I've got 5 seconds to say, ready? Because I'm going to click it. Instagram tag of the day. Bingo, that worked. So what ends up happening though is that there was only two sources in that entire scene. There was a GIF, which I made, right? That GIF, full screen. And there was my microphone. There was no music in that scene. There was only 2 sources in that scene, the GIF and the microphone. And then I did that advanced scene switcher to move it after 5 seconds. So I'm in the background going, Instagram tag of the day. And then it moves me to here. So let me keep moving up. The next item is on this scene, which is not working, is my window capture. Okay, let's talk about this window capture, because this is how I actually do the show. Let's see if I can bring this up. Google, StreamYard, nope. Mandalorian, no, it's not highlighted, so I got to go check it out. We'll go to my home page. Okay. Now it should go. Let's see if this works. No, that's weird. All right. We got to close it and restart it. Oh, no, it's there. Okay. It popped in. There it is. It's weird. Okay, so this is my screen share. And what I'm doing with this screen share, God, that looks weird, doesn't it? It doesn't look like it's oriented right. Oh, I think there's a filter on this. Let me turn this filter off. So I have a filter, a crop filter on here. Let me hide that crop filter for now. Just hide it. And that didn't work. I'm size bad in here. Oh, Instagram tag of the day. It's not set up for this. It's set up for Instagram. Let's go to Instagram. I think I set this up to the crop too. It looks like I lost the crop. Oh, I hope that's not an issue going forward. Oh, I'm in full screen. Gaia. There it is. There it is. I have 2 different versions of this. There's a regular and a full screen. So in window capture, which is just a window capture, by the way. You get to choose which window you want to display, which is kind of a workaround. Hey, is anybody having a problem, when you when you're sharing your screen in StreamYard and you're trying to show another page or another video, after a certain period of time, it cut it off because it's not allowing you to share that way? If you had OBS, that wouldn't be a problem. So this is set up for Instagram tag of the day. I would go to tags, and I think I have this. Yes, perfect. I have a filter on no, there's a filter. I turned it off. Turn the filter back on. Crop pad filter. There it is. Okay. I have a filter that brings that up and in. So this is a window capture element. You've got me in the circle. You've got the counter. You got the window capture element. Now, the cool thing about the window capture element is as I'm scrolling through, oh, that is sweetness. For my Instagram tag of the day, you guys are seeing what I'm seeing here. And it's all through the OBS. Pretty slick, right? Real quick, let me hit the chat since we're at the 25-minute, 50-second. We're going to be wrapping this up pretty quick. DK Comics and Display is doing something really special today, folks. Check them out in the live stream playlist. Robert's probably going live. It's Saturday night, right? Saturday night. That's the place to be. Robert, Comic Book G-Spot. My man Kevin and Kai over at 1-2 Comic Talk are going to be doing some pretty special stuff coming up. You want to be tuning in to them. And I think my man, the Immortal Biggie Shack, is almost at 1,000 subscribers. So, I'm talking about I got 5 minutes to kind of wrap, but I'm talking about using all of the functionality of OBS. Let me go to my regular camera now, because that's going to be the end of this one. I'm talking about using the functionality of OBS, and I can stop that share, for StreamYard, but why do you want to use StreamYard at all? And that was the question. And if you stay to the end, I'll give you your answer. Okay, StreamYard has 3 really cool features. One of them is the competitive advantage that no one else has, including OBS does not have a simple way to do this. StreamYard dominates being able to quickly highlight a live chat comment with their logo, with the person's logo. And you can't do that in OBS quickly. I found a way to do it, but it's like this really quick cut and paste thing that it displays, and then it's got the stuff in the background, and it just doesn't look good at all. So that's number 1, right? Number 2 for StreamYard is you get to play these videos and cuts and all this stuff with a very simple upload. StreamYard lets you put a logo up in the corner. Simple. Because they have it's a section in their branding. Can I do that sharing? I got to stop that share. I'm going to start a new share. Oh, you might get the ripple effect. Yeah, you're going to get the ripple effect. Oh, well. So in the ripple effect, over here on the side, you've got branding. And what StreamYard's brilliant at is in their branding, if you pay, because I do pay for the upgrade, but not only are you changing your colors and your themes, and you can change that upper logo in the corner. Here, let's drop some keep and sell on you, right? But they've broken out overlays super easy. And for StreamYard's overlays, they've broken what they call GIFs. So I've got GIFs that you can quickly and easily display, or you can use that area for a straight up overlay coming over the top, which I've just done, this overlay over the top. And as you keep going down, you've got an area for video clips. This is so much faster to organize. You got like 50 clips or as many as, I don't know how many, I got, look at all those clips I got. Look at all the clips that I've got loaded up, ready to go. And then you've got backgrounds. So think about it. If you've got a background, and I'll just turn that background off, right? The background same background that I was using in OBS. If you've got backgrounds and you've got an overlay over the top and you can sandwich in the middle, you can do a lot of cool production work. I've done shows, I've done a couple of different shows where all of the interaction between you and a guest is done with an overlay very similar to this. And I don't know if I have any still loaded because I think I took a bunch of them out for room. I did take a bunch of them out. But my interview overlays, you guys would be, recognize those. Very simple overlay with my Disco After Dark. Man, whatever happened to that show? Happy birthday. As a matter of fact, I don't know if they're in the chat, but we got some birthdays to celebrate. Happy birthday to all my YouTubers out there who are tuning in and checking this out. And let me go ahead and stop that share. So StreamYard, why? Being able to highlight that chat first and foremost. ME Comics, thanks for coming in. Nice cover, bro. Appreciate you. 2, the ability to have that background and overlay super quick, super easy, basically just an upload, a simple upload, and you've got an overlay or an image with StreamYard, and being able to play those cuts. And I've got one cut to play because this man deserves his 1,000 subscribers. He's one of the best in the community, and I love the leg drop.
Biggie. Biggie. Biggie.
I love it. That's it for today, folks. I appreciate everybody who's hanging out. And as always, don't forget, we had a good time. Peace, everybody.